I was always sort of really interested in reading when I was a kid, and I would read everything that I could get my hands on. I read the encyclopedia probably age 9 or 10. Well, and not that I actually wanted to read the encyclopedia, but I ran out of things to read, so in desperation I read the encyclopedia. I got bored easily, and so unless I was doing something like reading or playing a video game or watching TV, and we had like terrible TV in South Africa. It was really bad TV. So there was only at best, there wasn't that much of it. So boredom, so boredom led to a lot of reading.
Oh, I read thousands and thousands of books. You know, I like the sort of Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit and that kind of thing. And I was 14, 15, I started reading some of the philosophers, Nietzsche, Schopenhauer, that sort of thing, by people like Dostoevsky. Oh, brutal. Most of the philosophers are really, they're awful. I mean, they're so depressing, and they're just, you know, some of the things they say are good ideas, and then it's interspersed with so much rubbish. But I was sort of, you know, early teen years trying to figure out the meaning of the universe and all that, and it was very difficult to come up with anything that wasn't some piece of arbitrary claptrap. The question is harder than the answer. Really, it's the question that's the hard part, and that takes a much bigger computer than Earth to figure it out. I think there's some truth to that. When we ask questions, they come along with all of our biases, and so there are so many things implied in the question that you should really ask, is that the right question? And that's very hard to figure out.
Well, I think you learn a lot depending upon, you know, whose life you're reading about. There are lots of lessons in there. I read Isaacson's biography of Jobs, which I thought was quite interesting, and I actually really liked his biography of Benjamin Franklin, who I would say is certainly one of my heroes. He seemed like a really great guy. Since I'm traveling so much, and that I often find I'm reading the books on my iPhone, which may sound like, wow, this is really tiny, but honestly, the book I'm reading, which I was sort of thinking, should I say this or not, but it's a book on Howard Hughes. You know, maybe a cautionary tale. Try to learn as much as possible that allows you to predict the future or make the future. So the saying is the best way to predict the future is to make it. And then assess whether what you're learning is enabling you to predict the future with less error. Are you less wrong? We're always wrong to some degree. But can you reduce the error on your future predictions? I think that's the way to look at education. As of course, but it's both creative, create the future, and predict the future. So that includes art and all those other things. But close the loop on being less wrong about future. I would say that's the right way to think about education. I mean, the way education works right now, it's extremely low bandwidth, it's extremely slow. Lectures are the worst, really. It's like very slow. You know? Try to predict the future with less error. This is very hard, as you were saying. I'm not sure it's 99.9%, but it's not very good, generally, at prediction of the future. But I think often people don't try. The first thing is try. If you don't try, okay, you know, you got to try, and then adjust based on the error of your prior predictions. Well, I studied physics, and I'd certainly strongly recommend physics as a good grounding to understand the nature of reality. I mean, physics is fundamentally just understanding how does the universe actually work, and then that's a good foundation for then a variety of engineering disciplines. And I think also the analytical principles, the sort of analytical constructs used in physics apply to basically anything. You know, physics developed all these ways of thinking, like first principles thinking, thinking about things in the limit of high and low, you know, testing your hypothesis. You know, it's the scientific principle essentially. These things are incredibly helpful in all arenas. Yeah, well, you know, there's a lot of technical problems to solve. So I guess if we sort of, you know, started studying kind of engineering and physics and biosciences and that kind of thing would be the way to go. There are going to be a lot of problems to solve to make a city work on Mars. We were thinking of, just as a, well, sort of a semi-joke, putting a job description on our website for urban planner in brackets Mars. There's going to be just a tremendous amount of problems to solve. There's just a lot of building and problem solving. So those are like the right, skills to work on if someone's interested in going beyond Earth or space in general.
Basically, I sort of was thinking about this when I was a kid, and trying to find some meaning in life. Like, what's the meaning of life? Basically, the universe is the answer, and you just need to figure out the questions. So I think, that's if I can help kind of figure out the questions, then I consider that to be meaningful.